Actually, I think on that track we had a small stuffed Tyrannosaurus Rex, and sampled the sound of his head hitting a kick drum, and then Chris threw it into the computer. But it's usually something sampled. You can walk into Chris's house at any time, and he'll be like throwing a slinky down the stairs. He'll be like, you know, just to capture a sound. Yeah, but a lot of those weird, wacky sounds are on this record.
Welcome to the Back Catalog Listening Party, your weekly musical happy hour where musicians pick an album from their back catalog and tell the stories behind their favorite tracks in front of a live online audience.
This week we talk with indie folk songwriter Spencer LaJoye. We revisit their 2024 album Shadow Puppets, talk about musical theater influences, Phil Collins, and how we keep ourselves from getting too crusty in the middle of a Midwest winter. So pour a beverage, grab a snack, and kick back as we laugh and listen to music together here on the Back Catalog Listening Party, where it's always Friday and old albums never sounded better. Happy Friday!
Happy Friday!
Happy Friday!
And welcome to the Back Catalog Listening Party. My name is Mother Banjo, one of your hosts.
My name is Anthony Ihrig, the other host.
And today we have joining us from their home in Grand Rapids, Michigan, Spencer LaJoye.
Hi, I said happy Friday soon, way too soon.
No, there's no rules. It's
No,
Friday. So
it is. It's always Friday here at the Back Catalog Listening Party.
It is. We bring the Friday no matter when you are tuned in. We want it to be your kickoff to a fun weekend of music and conversation. Connie, first to the party. Hello.
Hey, Connie, welcome.
Joining us from Richfield. David, looking forward to this hour, checking in from Andover, Minnesota. David? It's cold outside, but I'm still going to have a little ice cream while I listen in. Hey, David, I think that sounds like a great idea. It's never too cold for ice cream.
Yeah, and if you're new to the show, this is a musical happy hour, so we like to clink our glasses, eat a little something, and listen to music together. So we have to ask, Ellen, are you enjoying a happy hour beverage?
I am, and maybe in the theme of it's never too cold for. I know it's winter, and usually I go with the red wine this time of year, but I was like, no. I'm feeling white wine. I guess I'm feeling summery vibes, if not summery temperatures. So
excellent.
I'm enjoying a nice Sauvignon Blanc. What about you, Tony?
I'm going back to Trail Magic. This mimosa flavored THC sparkling seltzer here is just did the trick last week. So
and I also see it's in your amazing Back Catalog Listening Party pint glass.
Yes, that's right.
That's right.
Tastes so much better.
It does taste better that way. And Spencer, are you enjoying any kind of beverage or snack today?
Yeah, I've got a blood orange flavored hop water.
Oh, I love hop water. Nice.
Me too.
That sounds
Me
good.
too. This is the first time I'm trying this guy.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Yeah, you'll have to tell us how it goes.
There we got Joe tuning in from Minneapolis. Always good to see you, Joe. Thanks for being here. And our good friend Chris, looking forward to the show, enjoying Athletic Brewing NA Hazy IPA. Ooh, good choice, Chris. That's a tasty one.
Yeah, it sure is. So if you are new to the Back Catalog Listening Party, this is what we do. We invite some of our favorite artists on to join us, have a little happy hour with us, and we revisit one of their older records, an album from their back catalog, and we want you to be a part of the conversation and part of the party. So tell us where you are tuned in from, if you're enjoying a beverage or a snack, and as we go along, feel free to ask lots of questions or share comments about the music or anything else that you feel like sharing, because really we're just grateful for your company, and we look forward to this hour of music with Spencer LaJoye. And I'm very excited to have Spencer on the show. I've been wanting to get you on the show for a while now. But for folks who are maybe a little less familiar with your music, maybe you could give a 2-minute origin story of like where you grew up, how you fell into making music,
Sure.
maybe where this album fits into that.
Yeah, I grew up in this house, the one that I'm in right now. I told you I'm tuning in from Grand Rapids, Michigan, but I'm actually sort of on an outskirt. I'm not going to tell you where I am.
Undisclosed location. That's fine.
Yeah.
This is my childhood home. Just sort of rural Southwest Michigan, and my whole family, they're all musicians. I'm one of 6 kids, and so I grew up doing this. And the album we're going to listen to today is only a year old. But my oldest stuff, because I've been doing this for like 10, 15 years, this singer-songwriter thing, my oldest stuff is under a different name. I'm gender non-binary, and I when I changed my name, my music took on a new identity too, and I really don't want people Googling my old name. So this
Fair enough. So we're starting.
so this is
from
where we
here.
find ourselves. We're starting at the beginning of Spencer.
Perfect.
Nice. I love that.
it.
That's really wonderful. So this album is called Shadow Puppets. It came out just over a year ago. And is there anything you want to say about it before we dive into the first track, which is the title track?
I want to say a lot about it, but we should probably just dive in. I recorded it in Ypsilanti, Michigan, so the east side of the state.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's just get the party started with the title track. This is Shadow Puppets from Spencer LaJoye here on the Back Catalog Listening Party.
We're prepared to lose power. Every candle collected, tub full of water, street siren news, anchor goes silent. The basement, space beneath the staircase, is a playhouse and a stage. By the spotlight of the tallest burning wick, she writes a plot line with her palms and fingers twisting. I give it a shot, but all that I got is a shadow so big, a shadow so wide. It's a darkness I could fit my whole self inside, she says. Just pull away, away from the flame. Now it's a shape you can make with your hand. Just an owl coming to land. Just a monster you can understand. I go away with my words, and I use them to run you into the woods, past the curve of our street, jump the curb in the weeds, find you curled beneath a dead tree, say you hurt because of me. By the spotlight of a blazing August sun, you write a plot line in my veins. I can't outrun, but I give it a shot. Give it all that I got. That shadow is big, that shadow is wide. It's a darkness I could fit my whole self inside, but when I pull away, away from the flame, it's a shape I can make with my hand. Just a woman sinking in sand, just a monster I can understand. Just a broken commandment, a wooden spoon, a shaking hand, just a kiss in the back of a car, brand new Bible, steady arm, just an addict playing the piano, and a kid praying up to the stars, as a mother looks at her shadows and can't understand who they are. That shadow is big, that shadow is wide. It's a darkness that I fit my whole self inside, but I pull away, away from the flame. They're just shapes I can make with my hand. Owls coming to land, people sinking in sand. I can understand.
All right. Spencer LaJoye with Shadow Puppets from their 2024 album of the same name. Spencer LaJoye joining us from somewhere outside Grand Rapids, Michigan. And to talk about this record with us. I love that track so much. So many beautiful layers to it.
Mm.
What can you tell us about the inspiration for the song?
Oh man, I was sad. Period. I was sad and I was um sitting in a dark kitchen in my Boston apartment. And I had written the entire album. I had written 11 tracks for the album, and I didn't know the thing that glued them together. And I was observing all of these items in my kitchen casting shadows because, like, the only light was from the hallway. And I saw, like, the coffee bag and the coffee maker and the spatulas and the toaster all casting shadows. And I started to think about how those shadows, I have shadows too. You have shadows. We all have these shadows, you know. And what is it about shadows? They're not so scary, really, if you can sit with them and if you can see what's casting them. And then I realized that was the crux of the whole album, really. And then I wrote this title track. But yeah, I was sad and sitting in the dark by choice. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that we can all relate to that. But I love that idea of like naming the shadows or what's causing the shadows provides
Right.
comfort. Because I think that's, having a 5-year-old kid, small children often get afraid of the dark, but what's scary is the shadow is like, oh, that shadow looks like a monster, or this thing looks like that. But when you know what it is,
Right.
then it's not as scary. It's
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And the idea being that, like, if you get some distance from it too, right? If you are stuck inside the shadow, like, I think about situations in my past and stories, shadows of my past, monsters in my past. And if I'm too close to it, I really can't see the thing at all. It just takes some time, some distance, some perspective, right? A little distance creates a lot of perspective. That's sort of that was sort of the point of the song. Yeah.
Yes. And also shadow puppets. I mean, when you hear shadow puppets, it's such a different feeling than if you just said shadows, right? Like,
For
because
sure.
puppets are like, at least normally we think of puppets as more like friendly things, and something playful and
Right.
something to be enjoyed, not something to be fearful of, hopefully.
Right. Right. That was my
Well,
hope. I think the whole record sort of feels like that. Feels a little playful. That was the goal that Chris and I had going in. We wanted to make it really colorful. We wanted to, like, tackle really dark, scary stories with a lot of color and play and creativity. I think we did it.
Yeah.
Agreed. And speaking of color, I just loved all the colors I was hearing in my ears from the string section, especially, really popped out to me. The nice big swooping sounds and the kind of pizzicato stuff. Can you talk a little bit about like how this track came together from a musical perspective?
Yeah. Do you know the Accidentals? Sav
Mhm.
Madigan and Katie Larson. So they're my friends. They're also Michiganders at heart. And Chris and I really have always dreamed about having Sav and Katie on a track. And I just shot Sav a text one day, and she was so generous and was like, "Yeah, tell us the songs that you want. Send us your files, and we'll do everything in house." And I
Oh, wow.
arranged nothing for them. I feel like they did it in a day. It was probably 2 weeks, but I feel like they did it in a day. They sent over just like a wall of files to Chris. And he called me. He was like, buddy, there's a lot here. It's like, okay.
So you have to like figure out of all that stuff what you're going to use, right?
Yeah. And I mean, he threw it all in there. I think he might have pulled some things back and highlighted other sections, but they're so tasteful. And I trusted them. I could have given them written parts, but Sav and Katie, I trusted, and I wanted their creativity. I wanted to hear them on the track. And I'm really happy with what they did.
Yeah, really added a lot, and to the pushing the story forward as well. So
For sure.
And
Mhm.
you mentioned Chris. Tell us who this Chris is, and
I'm
I guess
sorry.
name the producer. Yeah.
Yeah, Chris DuPont of Ypsilanti, Michigan. Um, he's kind of the guy. He's the Michigan guy, but he's been my buddy for well over a decade now. He was sort of songwriter extraordinaire when I was just starting to do this as my job. I was just a baby, and he took me under his wing. I didn't know what I was doing. I thought Chris was the shit. I looked up to him, and he has just been so generous with me, like kind of mentoring me. And now finally I think I consider myself a teammate of his, but for truly a decade he was a mentor and a hero, and he's my producer now, and I'm
Awesome.
thrilled. Yeah.
That's wonderful.
And was it his studio that you were working out of, or another studio?
Yeah, Chris and I worked pretty remotely on this entire record. So
Hmm.
I went in, I think 2 weeks I spent, because I wasn't living in Michigan at the time. I was living in Boston. I flew out for a couple weeks, and we did like a blitz recording. I got all of my parts tracked, and then
Hmm.
the rest of it we did really remotely. He would send over like spaghetti on the wall ideas, and I would say yes or no, and then I'd send him my spaghetti on the wall ideas, and he would try to like plug it into a synth. But it was pretty remote. That was the one question he asked me at the beginning of our recording together. He was like, "I need to know if you like ideas." And I was like,
Okay.
"Bring it on.
Nice. So
Let's
he was
go."
interjecting these like kind of production and arrangement ideas then, like kind of throughout the
Totally.
process. Very
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, totally. I came in with a song and a roadmap and my voice and my guitar, and everything else is super collaborative. I call Chris my song baby daddy. On this record, he was a huge player. Yeah.
Nice.
It's so important to have collaborators like that. And of course, having Katie and Seb from the Accidentals join you. And I'm also curious because, I'm guessing you play some acoustic guitar and sing on the project because that's often how you perform. But you also, am I right in thinking that you also play violin as well?
Yeah, I do. And
So,
I played on a few tracks. There were just some on this record I wanted somebody else's hands on.
yeah.
Um yeah, and this was one of them. I think they did 4. I think they contributed to 4 tracks,
So
for
when you
songs.
I know you do a lot of looping when you perform live. When you do this song live, is this one that you do any violin parts on, or do you just play a guitar and sing?
I just play guitar and sing.
Mhm.
Um, it's so dense. This song is fun to play. It's really hard to play, but it's my friend China Kent of All Right, a Colorado band. She says this song is one of those that sounds like it went to Harvard. Um, it's really dense lyrically, maybe too dense, and so when I perform it, I really just want to present the song.
Mhm.
I don't want anything to get in the way. I don't need any sort of bells and whistles to help it along, you know?
Yeah. Well, and also sometimes if you have a lot of lyrics to get out, at least for me, now you are a pro at looping and whatnot, but, like, I would think it would also just be hard to get through a song like that if you're also trying to multitask doing all the other things at the
Oh,
same.
sure, yeah, I just wanna, like, get my P's and T's out. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we have some questions coming in. We have something from Connie saying, "What's the story of the amazing cover art?" And we'll throw that up on the screen
Oh,
right there. Yes, tell us about
Beautiful.
this beautiful artwork on your
my
album.
sweet friend Miles McKay in Denver, Colorado did this. I called him from a festival in North Carolina right outside the porta potties, and, to talk about this cover art. I was like, "I don't really know what I want. It needs to be playful, though. It needs to be a cartoon. It needs to be playful because these songs all talk about my childhood." And he was like, "Great, what are some images?" And I was like, "I'll come up with 1 or 2." And I sent him like 10 images. I was like, "Can you just make a world? Can you just do it?" And he's like, "Yeah, how about this?" And I just love what he did. I wanted nothing gone. I like the chaos of it. I like how you can listen to the album and look at the cover art and pick out images from each song.
That's
Yeah,
super cool.
I love
I
it.
thought I saw a shadow in there. And for those who are just listening to the podcast version here, we're looking at beautiful cover art. It looks like maybe like a cardboard fort of some sort, and there's some trees, and it's on the top of a hill. We'll have this image along with any other links and show notes at backcataloglisteningparty.com.
That's right. And yeah, beautiful, beautiful work. And we'll make sure to also get the name of the artist for that too, Miles McKay, up there as well. And Joe had a question. Have you created some musical theater productions? And I can see why he asked that, because there is a kind of cinematic and I don't know, a whole stage is set with your songs. Certainly the one we just heard, Shadow Puppets. Is this something that you've ever done or thought about doing?
People ask me one of two questions. It's either, have you written a musical, or were you a worship leader? And the answer the answer to the former, to have I created a musical theater production, is no. Would I like to? Yeah. Was I a theater kid? Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Excellent. That's great. And do you want to answer that second question or not? It's totally up
worship
to you.
leader?
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. For sure I was. Yeah.
In that previous life.
In a previous life. Yep.
Yeah. Well, you're not the first former worship leader we've had on the show. We've had at
Of
least
course
one
not.
other. I
Yeah,
mean,
that's right.
probably more, but Flamey Grant was we recently did a show with Flamey, and also, so we have, and it makes sense because a lot of people grow up making music in church.
That's how we
often the
learn
first
to like
outlet.
accompany ourselves.
Mhm.
And some of like the best performers I know used to be worship leaders. You know, they know how to like read a room and get you singing along. You know,
Yeah.
I was gonna say it's a spiritual gift. It's magic. Right. Yeah.
Excellent.
Hey there, would you like to be part of the live show? Well, become a member of the Back Catalog Listening Party Patreon, and you'll get a backstage pass to weekly online tapings where you can ask the artist questions and participate in the live chat with a fun community of like-minded music nerds. You'll also get a first look at upcoming guests and receive invitations to special live streams and private after parties. So join the party today at patreon.com/backcataloglisteningparty.
If you just joined us here on the Back Catalog Listening Party, we're chatting with Spencer LaJoye about their 2024 album, Shadow Puppets. And we're going to get to more tracks from the record. But again, if you have comments or questions along the way, feel free to do that in the live chat. And also, again, tell us where you are tuned in from. And this next track that you picked to feature, Spencer, is The Art of Feeling Lonely. Is there anything you want to say about this before we take a listen?
Nah, let's just listen.
All right. We're going to give it a spin now. This is Spencer LaJoye, The Art of Feeling Lonely, here on the Back Catalog Listening Party.
I summon her with lilies, put some Kleenex in the pew, close my eyes and hum Amazing Grace. I see her in the doorway, and it feels just like the truth. Come closer, come on, cover me in gray. She starts to acquiesce and wraps me in her dress. It's so sweet. She gets a bit possessive, should scare me half to death. But if it doesn't break my heart, it wasn't worth a thing. This is the art of feeling lonely. addicted. I'm still hopeless, and she knows. We do this, we go through this every time. She opens up the casket, says, "Do you want it back?" Something easy. I almost reattach. It scares me half to death. 'Cause if it doesn't break my heart, it wasn't worth a thing. This is the art of feeling lonely. Eulogize my happiness, process it out the door. Dear lonely, you know me, we've been through this before. Sink it deep beneath the lilies with the other lighter things. I'll breathe out remembrance, I'll breathe in you and me. When we've been here for decades, no one to understand. We'll have no fewer days embracing than when we first began. If it doesn't break my heart, it wasn't worth a thing. This is the art of feeling lonely.
The Art of Feeling Lonely, Spencer LaJoye here on the Back Catalog Listening Party. And yeah, you definitely make Feeling Lonely sound really good.
I was talking about this with my therapist today.
But no, one of the things that I've always really admired about your music is that you can, get into some heavy stuff, and yet I always feel better after hearing your songs. And that's not true with all sad songs, or songs dealing with sad things, I should say.
Sure.
Is that I feel like I was listening to this, and it's just like it is in Michigan. I'm sure it's cold and everything's kind of crusty and dry here, and
Crusty.
all kinds. And I feel like, but listening to this song, it was like I just felt like I was being slathering myself in like a lip balm. You know what I mean? Like balm for the
Gross.
for the
I love
whole-
it. Yeah.
This is kind of a gross analogy, but I just feel like something comforting. Like you have
Yeah.
one thing that's uncomfortable, and it's like this is just for the whole kit and caboodle, like the whole soul, is being taken care of in this song. And some of it's the song, but also the production is so beautiful. One of the things that really struck me was when those drums come in, and sounding so good, but also the vocals in that chorus. I'm guessing some of those vocals might be you doubling up, but when it's a cappella in there, it sounds like there's some other voices in there.
Yeah. Chris definitely sang. Chris DuPont, and I think Kylie Phillips was there too. Kylie Phillips is also an Ypsilanti musician. Yeah, my Michigan family showed up for that. And that's Billy Harrington on the drums. We just asked him to be as Phil Collins as possible.
Totally brought it. I can totally hear that.
He
Yeah, it was
really
pretty epic.
did. Yeah.
Fat drums. Love it.
Well, there's
Yeah.
also some cool, like almost electronic percussion or something that I heard in there. It reminded me of like a Bjork track or something. Where did that come
my
from?
God, amazing. That is a compliment. Yeah, Chris is super into that. Chris does a lot of work on the computer, but Actually, I think on that track we had a small stuffed Tyrannosaurus Rex, and sampled the sound of his head hitting a kick drum, and then Chris threw it into the computer. But yeah, Chris
I'm
is
so glad
sampling
you
things
told
all
us
the time.
the story there. That made it
Yeah.
wasn't just any electronic sound. It was a toy.
Yeah, it's
and,
usually something sampled. You can walk into Chris's house at any time and he'll be like throwing a slinky down the stairs. He'll be like, just to
capturing
capture a sound. Yeah.
I
But a
love
lot of
that.
those weird, wacky sounds are on this record.
That's
Well,
great. Well, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, how like we often talk about how like sometimes some recording processes you can hear the room or the tone or soul of like a wood instrument or acoustic instrument. I love the idea that the T-Rex was on The Art of Feeling Lonely because being a T-Rex would be a lonely existence. So so I love that idea that I can really feel that T-Rex soul coming through.
That's what it is. It's his spirit. You're right, Ellen. That's what it is. It's the
I
T-Rex.
don't know. Oh man, all I know is I need this music this week clearly because my brain is in another spot completely, and I need this music bad. That's all I got to say. And now I'll shut up because Tony probably has a deeper insight.
I'm still thinking about the balm.
I love that. Of balm.
Yeah,
I'm thinking about why your house is crusty, Ellen.
I think Ellen was referring to Minnesota in February.
Yeah, just everything's dry and we're all feeling a little bit crusty,
Okay,
this time of year. But
word.
Anyway, so Tony, I know you had something more interesting to ask or say.
I don't know if I can top that, honestly. But I guess one thing I just Joe had mentioned theater and we had talked about worship leading and all that kind of stuff. But I'd just be curious, like, kind of what you were raised on. You said you had a house full of musicians. So was there like a certain style of music that you started with, and then you kind of moved from here to there? Was it always just an eclectic mix? Like what were you weaned on?
It was pretty eclectic. My dad is a big jazzer. My mom was a choir director, and so I would grow up going to the rehearsals. She was the music theater director as well, so I would go to all the high school theater rehearsals and memorize their lines for them and their songs. And so I had like jazz, I had music theater, I had worship music, and I would fall asleep to cassette tapes of Suzuki violin books. So that was kind of it. I didn't really get into folk music until Jesus told me to in college, and but even that was sort of gateway drug away from worship music into folk music, and so I don't think it was like the best diet, to be honest. Yeah, I've had to pick that up on my own. Found Phil Collins all by myself. Thank you very much.
Well, I mean, it sounds like an interesting mix, and it's surely all kind of coming together. And I think what we're hearing now was there maybe if you align yourself in the folk world, is there a folk artist or somebody that really spoke to you that kind of made the light bulb turn on, or was it more of a gradual process?
My gateway drug into folk music was Sarah Bareilles. She was like a pop solo piano singer songwriter with a theater background,
Perfect.
And I was just mesmerized by her. And then I looked up who her influences were, and she led me to Joni Mitchell, and then that opened up a whole other world,
Yeah. It is so interesting to hear how that happens so often. Is like there is that gateway artist, and then from that you're like, you just follow the path backwards, and someday someone will be listening to Spencer LaJoye and they'll be like, what was Spencer LaJoye listening to? And they'll be like, Sarah Bareilles,
Phil Collins,
Joni Mitchell. Yeah. Phil Collins.
They'll be like, Hillsong, The Cult.
Oh, I love it. Well, if you just joined us here on the Back Catalog Listening Party, we are having lots of fun with Spencer LaJoye, and you can join in on the fun, the conversation. Tell us where you're tuned in from. If you have comments, questions, music recommendations, any any of that, how you're staying not crusty during the winter, all of that. Put it in the comments, and we will get to as many of them as we can. But we want to get to as much music as we can because I am really digging this, and I want more
Likewise.
musical bomb. And so this next track you picked to feature is The Joker. Is there anything you want to say about it? Or you just want to dive in?
Nah, dive in.
All right, we're diving in. Spencer LaJoye, The Joker, here on the Back Catalog Listening Party.
Tried to dance the way you do, make a fool before you think to dare me to. I fold my page into a plane, fly a pickup line to you and watch your face. The point is we all know it. You would never be with me. I tried it to be mean to me so you would like it. I learned early that it hurts to be outed, so I out myself first. So I control the narrative. Stay ahead of it. If I am the Joker, I can't be the joke. If I planned it, I can't be the seed. If my timing's comedic and everyone sees it, it's funny 'cause I pulled the strings. Nobody's laughing at me. What's it like to feel the ground when you're walking? Do you think about the sound? Forget about it. How about putting on a shirt? Is it light against your skin? Do you pretend in it and wonder if it's working? It's just I learned early that it hurts to be rumored, so I teach them all the words, and I control the narrative. Stay ahead of it. What is it like to feel the world as it happens? I can just imagine from ahead of it. What is it like to lose your way in the magic? I can just imagine from ahead of it. If I am the Joker, I can't be the joke. If I plant it, I can't be the seed. If my timing's comedic and everyone sees it, it's funny 'cause I pulled the strings. Nobody's laughing at me.
Oh, yes. Spencer
Nice.
LaJoye with The Joker here on the Back Catalog Listening Party from their 2024 release, Shadow Puppets, which we're revisiting today with Spencer joining us live. And that tune really gets that playfulness we were talking about earlier, just like the production and also it sounded like there was were there little kid voices on there as well?
Yeah, so we're
Yeah,
gonna ask
there's a
about that.
voice memo of one of my nephews. I was writing a different song in the house one day, and he like ran up to me and was like, "How do you know how to play that?" And I was like, "I'm making it up." And he was like, "Oh, fine, okay, I'm gonna go play with the dog." And he was just goofing around, but we needed to fill some space in the recording with something that connected me back to like the innocence of childhood, you know?
Mhm.
Because the song is so deeply about like not feeling like I fit in and needing to use humor to deflect from people seeing me. And I just wanted to have a moment on the recording right before it explodes into the bridge, right before it explodes into this question and answer, this like, what is it like to feel the world, you know? I wanted a moment of like coming back to the heart of it, of like, who is the little kid here that we're taking care of, you know? Who is at the
Mm.
root of all of this? Who's at the heart of it? And it's me, but it's like my nephew being like, I'm gonna go play with the dog, you know? Um, yeah.
That's cool.
I love that, and I love that that you and your producer were thinking so much about not just telling the musical story, but also just like you were really thinking like, how do we tie it back to the really
Mhm.
that heart of the song?
Yeah.
Because a lot of people would just think, oh, that's like a cute little interlude, but it's like no, it has like a deeper reasoning behind it, but also it has a musical function, as you said, because it brings it quiet before the
Right.
big ending, which is so beautiful. And speaking of that big ending, yeah, again, lots of strings. Was that also the accidentals on that
That
as
was
well?
Sav and Katie. Yep.
Wow.
Yep. That was, we had thrown in some junk placeholder things and those little pizzicatos at the end. Chris and I threw it in and we laughed about it. We were like, that's hilarious. They're not going to do that. And we sent it over and they sure did do it. It was so funny.
I loved it. I mean, again, it's just like it's so interesting how those little production elements change just the overall vibe, excuse me, of it, and it takes you into a different place, and that was really good stuff.
Yeah,
Thank you.
really
I
good.
really wish, that like quality production was more accessible to more folk artists.
Mhm.
Sorry, my cat is messing with my camera. um, because the thing, if I could just like take all of my favorite best friend folk artists by the shoulders and sweetly look into their eyes and just tell them their live performance is so special. And when you take away their person, you take away the magic of the room, it doesn't always necessarily translate to what we're hearing in our ears. Um,
Mhm.
and it's so important to have like a translator, you know, just like a producer who helps you translate the magic of a live performance to something that's just an audio only. Um, I think we're really underestimating the power of producers in the folk world, and that's why I'm just really excited about what Chris is doing here in Michigan.
Oh,
No,
amen to that.
yeah,
I agree. Actually, I'm a it's another part of it's another character in the story,
yeah.
the production, and it's really a big one in this case.
And I like what you say about like when someone's live, there is a magic that's there, and without that, you're basically kind of creating a different kind of magic, not the same, but a whole nother way of experiencing the music and recreating that, which I think is so beautiful and it's really coming out. And by the way, this is a perfect opportunity to talk
Mm,
about if you're enjoying
yes.
the music as much as folks are on the podcast or the live show. Definitely want to get the high res versions of these files because as good as it sounds in your earbuds or whatever, it's going to sound a million times better because this is a
Yeah.
special production. That's all I got to say.
It really is. I mean, I've
Okay.
been like just geeking out here, just listening to all the little, subtleties. There's so much we're getting listening to the uncompressed wave files, which, you again could get directly from Spencer's website, spencerlajoye.com. And you are going to hear things that you won't hear if you're not paying attention. And not only that, when you purchase directly from the artist, they get the money. And it goes a long way also to just let them know how much you appreciate their music. We all know we can stream everything, for next to nothing. But when an artist receives a CD, a vinyl purchase, it says that their music is worth something, and that matters a lot.
That's right. And I mean, you can hear all the time and energy and thought and care that was put into creating this magical production. And it really is magical. And there aren't any physical copies left because they're sold out, which is a great problem for an artist to have.
Unsurprising.
Yes. But again, if you go to spencerlajoye.com, you can download those high-res files. Also, by the time this podcast airs, there will be a new Spencer LaJoye album out.
Yay.
Is that right?
For sure. Yeah. And it's an EP. It's 5 songs, but they're big and they're different than this. I would say they're still colorful, but they're different tones. They're less bright and pretty dark and moody, but I'm really excited about these songs. That comes out in 2 days as of this taping, but it'll be out by the time that this is out. Yeah.
Awesome.
Fantastic.
Sweet. You'll definitely want to go to spencerlajoye.com. Also, you can check out tour dates there as well. And Spencer's a very busy artist. So you want to keep tabs on everything that they are doing at that location. Also, speaking of upcoming shows, Chris wanted to know, curious to hear about what you have planned for the Weird Valentine's Day show.
We are planning a sold out show. It's sold out. It's me, my producer Chris here, Kylie Phillips, who also put vocals on my record, the one that you're listening to now, and my best friend Kyle Joe, who's one of the best songwriters that I've ever met. He was also a winner of the Kerrville New Folk competition, if you're in those circles at all. But that's this Friday, so it's in a couple days after the taping, Valentine's Day. But we're just gonna have a weird time playing songs that are love songs and that end in tragedy.
So the weird is not ending necessarily happily.
Yeah, and just our personalities, I would say.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
That sounds awesome.
That's my kind of Valentine's Day. That sounds fantastic. Great. And then Susan joining us from Fort Stockton, Texas. Hi, Susan. Thanks for coming to the party. And Joe wanted to comment, these productions are so perfect. And I can't, there's nothing more really to add. And he says, who do you bring when you're traveling live? Do you usually play solo? Do you sometimes bring some folks on the road with you?
Usually myself. It's usually solo, me and my guitar and my loop pedal. So usually about 25 of me. Sometimes I play with bandmates around the country, but usually just me.
Yeah.
And are the loops pre-recorded, or do you kind of do them live?
God, no.
Okay.
I built those
Okay.
live. Any song that I play with a loop pedal, I write the song using the looper. So the looper is like an integral instrument in the song. I never write a song and then add loops to it later.
Interesting.
Okay. Well, and also
yeah.
but you're doing it live, so you're like
doing it
layering.
live.
So yeah, I think that's so much fun to watch.
It's part of the live performance. Yeah.
Well, another reason to head on over to spencerlajoye.com and figure out when and where they are playing near you.
Because it sounds like what you want to experience is all the different kinds of magic that Spencer creates, whether it's live in person with the looping pedal and that energy you get in a live room, or that production that we're enjoying where Spencer teamed up with Chris DuPont and all these fabulous musicians, because they're both equally wonderful but different, which I think is so cool.
Thanks.
The Back Catalog Listening Party is brought to you by EFS Publicity. Founded by veteran publicist, promoter, DJ, and musician Ellen Stanley, EFS brings an artist's perspective to the table, working to help clients get to the next level in their career. Services include national and international media campaigns, radio promotions, tour press, crowdfunding, grant writing, and more. Get a quote or set up a consultation today at efspublicity.com.
So you had mentioned on your upcoming album that you had these certain colors, in a little darker and things like that. Do you approach like a EP or an album with any sort of creative constraints like that? Like, I want it to be this. I know it was kind of a collaboration with your friend Chris, and you mentioned it was your guitar and this and that. But do you give him some adjectives? I mean, kind of like you were talking about with the cover artist? Is that something you think about when you put a collection of songs together?
When I put a collection of songs together, yeah. I always send over the collection of songs to Chris, and we kind of compile a Spotify playlist of songs that we think kind of sound like what these songs could sound like. And we whittle that down together. For like inspo, But yeah, I try not to confine it too much. But the songs, if the songs are done, if the songs know who they are, they kind of lead the way.
Right on. Yeah, we're just big fans of the album format here on Back Catalog Listening Party, and it's just something about when you get the collection together, how you can address them. Yeah, when you can address them as a whole.
Yeah,
and that was really what I was curious about.
Well, and it's and were these songs written at a similar time? I know this is sort of your debut full length album as Spencer LaJoye, so you might have had a collection just rearing to go, but were they written kind of intentionally for the album, or were these kind of songs written at a different time that you just kind of assembled and kind of determined that they could live together?
I would say these songs were written over the course of a year and a half. I reached out to Chris and I said, "Will you produce a record?" And he said, "Yeah, let's do it." And I said, "Oh, great! I need to write the songs." And then I wrote, and not everything I wrote in that year and a half made it onto the record, but these were the 12 that made it. Because they belong together, right?
Yeah, yeah, they have to make friends,
Exactly.
If they can't cohabitate in that beautiful cardboard fort together that's pictured on the cover, then they probably shouldn't be on the same record, right? And that's a pretty wild fort. So you can probably a lot of songs would be welcome in that playhouse. Joe is excited to see Spencer's solo gig with Looping. Check out Spencer LaJoye. I Got It Bad. So Joe's doing the deep dive on Spencer LaJoye's music, and that's the assignment, folks. If you like what you hear here, you got to check out Spencer LaJoye out there in the world. Best vocal creativity since Bobby McFerrin. Oh, man.
Okay, Joe.
Take that press quote.
Yeah, I'm pulling that.
Fan Joe says, well, I agree. And I just want to mention that if you really like Spencer's music, another way to support Spencer is by joining Spencer's Patreon. And this is a great way of, if you want to stay kind of more in the loop, get the insider scoop on what Spencer LaJoye has been up to. You can go to spencerlajoye.com. Right on the main page, there's a link to join the Patreon. Is there anything you want to say about any special things you offer to your Patreon members?
I tell them everything. Behind the scenes videos, every song that I write.
Every T-Rex that makes it onto a track.
Yeah. And they're the sweetest community on the internet. If you're not sweet, you're not welcome there. But if you're a sweetie pie, come on over.
Yeah, that sounds great. And this is also a good time for us to thank our Patreon supporters. These are the folks that have kept Back Catalog Listening Party going for almost 4 years now.
5 years.
5 years. Oh my gosh, I can't do math. 5 years. It just went by so fast, Tony. I don't know.
I lost a few years in there somewhere.
Yeah,
but
it's been a weird 5 years.
But after 5 years, it's still my favorite hour of the week.
Is.
And it's because as much as I love listening to music on my headphones or in my car or something like that, there's something that happens when you listen to music together with other people. And we've learned through this 5 years of the show, it doesn't even have to be in person for that, whatever that magic is to happen. And we owe so much to our Patreon supporters for being there week after week.
That's right. These are the folks that keep the party going. Penny, Ann, Alinda, Bevan, Connie, Vaughn, Alan, Chris, Becky, Peggy, Joe, Jim, Beverly, John, Fred, Tim, Sarah, David, Jocelyn, Matt, Steve, Mark, Homestead Pick and Parlor, Severin, Lynn, Mary, Nikki, Joni, David, CJ, Wiley, Stephanie, Christy, Diane, Hetty, Sandy, neighbor Ann BZ, and Alyssa, and maybe you if you want to join our Patreon community. And that's how you get invited to the live tapings. So if you are interested in being a part of the live chat, asking the artists questions as we tape these podcast episodes, that's the best way to do it. We also have a free level if you just want to get updates on what's coming up that week on the live podcast. So there's lots of different ways you can stay in touch with us. But joining our Patreon is the number one way. And Tony, you want to hold up that pint glass?
Oh, yeah.
While
Sure.
supplies last, you can
It's
get
it's empty now,
but you
yeah,
know,
that
that's okay.
happens.
But you can get a founder's pint glass while supplies last if you join that
Yeah.
Patreon at any level.
And you get invited to things like after parties. And it just so happens that Spencer was so generous to hang out with us after the show
Another
with
round.
our Patreon community and their Patreon community as well. And we're so excited about that. And if that sounds like something that you'd like, definitely check out the Patreon. But most of all, thank you just for being here and supporting independent artists like Spencer.
Yeah, lending your ears to us and to Spencer. And we have time, speaking of listening, we have time for one more tune. And this next tune that you picked to feature is Someday You'll Wake Up Okay, which I think some encouraging words that I think we all need to hear right now. Certainly in crusty Minnesota. Is there anything you want to say about this before you take a listen?
I wrote this one for the looper, and I did not intend to record it in the studio, but Chris is very stubborn about it, and I think it went very well.
All right. So Spencer LaJoye, Someday You'll Wake Up Okay, here on the Back Catalog Listening Party.
College town, post-Halloween, 20-somethings remembering they signed up to be something. Call your mom and tell her you're flourishing. So many ways to hide yourself. Trade a costume in, pick another out. Just a holiday, just a major, just a dorm night out and some makeup. I see you smiling on the corner by the Dunkin'. You're not having any fun, and honestly, neither is anyone. You won't believe me, so I'll think it from the car. I know it seems so far, but it's possible. Whatever happens, you're gonna be alright. You're gonna be alright. It's possible. It'll happen. You're gonna wake up feeling better. It's gonna feel better. It's possible. Bedroom floor, 2008. Love the Lord, your soul to save. Cry the sinner's prayer out the window. See the crossing stars as a symbol. So many ways to hate yourself. Feel something good from the shoulders down. It's morning grace, it's addiction. It's a transformation prescription. I see you pulling at the sweater on your shoulders. You're acting so much older than you need to. No one told you that's not freedom. You won't hear me, but I'll think it from the future. I'll believe enough for you, so it's possible. Whatever happens, you're gonna be alright. You're gonna be alright. It's possible. It'll happen. You're gonna wake up feeling better.
Spencer LaJoye here on the Back Catalog Listening Party. Someday you'll wake up okay. And when you sing it, I believe it, Spencer. It's just so beautiful. And I love that this feels like something you're sending out to someone. I don't know if it's to your younger self or to someone else, but I feel like we all can resonate with that feeling of being like a younger person and being unsure of so many things. And I just love that.
Mhm. Yep, it's to my younger self, but it's also to all of our younger selves and all of us today.
Current selves. Yeah.
You can
I
be
love
heard
it.
at any age, that's for sure. And
And
unsure at any age.
You
Yeah.
definitely hear the looper influence on that track too. And I just loved how, it actually just that repetition kind of added to the message and the way it was delivered as well.
I'm glad.
Like, yeah, I felt like maybe I was in a church or something there,
Mhm.
really, getting that message right in the
Mhm.
middle where it
Sometimes you
belongs.
need multiple voices to tell you it's going
Yeah.
to be okay.
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah.
I love the way that you kind of kept that vibe if you had written it that, for the looper and maintain that part of it.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Yeah. I don't usually like to translate looper songs to audio only because of what we were talking about before, because the
Mhm.
magic of the live performance of the looper is kind of the thing. It's kind of the whole song.
Mhm.
And I just never think it's going to do well audio only. But I'm really proud of this one. I'm really proud of what we
You
did.
should be.
And
It's
I think
great.
Chris deserves credit for making you put it on the record
Yeah.
because it's a great tune and a great version of it. So
Yeah. Thanks.
thank you so much for joining us. What a special hour this has
That's great.
been.
Thank
Again,
you.
balm for my soul here. I'm
Just what
feeling
we
so
need in
much better.
crusty Minneapolis.
Yeah,
Right?
that's right. I'm getting all soft and happy here, and
Good.
it's all because of Spencer LaJoye and all of you joining us
Mm.
for the live show. Want to thank Connie. She says thanks for a great show, and Susan also was complimenting the wonderful music and your beautiful vocals. And yes, go out there, check out SpencerLaJoye.com. You can download the tracks to this record we've been revisiting, Shadow Puppets, but you can also get the new EP. You can check out tour dates. You can join the Patreon. So many ways to support this amazing music, which is we need more of. We need more
Mhm.
of this. At least I need more of this. I need more music. And that's how you can do to support it. And we are just so grateful, Spencer, that you spent the hour with us. It's been
Yeah,
such
thank
a
you so
treat.
much.
I'm really grateful to y'all. Thanks for supporting independent music. Y'all are the best.
Well, thank you all for joining us. And again, if you haven't already, subscribe to the podcast because we do this every week, not with Spencer LaJoye every week, but with other great artists. So make sure to tune in, and we'll see you back next week for another edition of the Back Catalog Listening Party. And for our patrons, we'll see you at the after party
All
on Zoom.
right. Cheers.
Cheers.
Ding.
Thanks for joining us on the Back Catalog Listening Party. If you like what you hear, please subscribe to the podcast and leave a review, which helps more people discover our show and our guests.
And do you want to be a part of the live show, get a first look at upcoming guests, and receive invites to private online parties and live streams? Then join our Patreon community at backcataloglisteningparty.com.
Have a great week. We'll see you back here next Friday for another edition of the Back Catalog Listening Party.